I don't know if it's just me, but Deltarune makes me feel a variety of emotions. And fear is definitely one of them. The creepy secrets in the game just make my skin crawl, you know? Especially since they often feel like they weren't intended to be seen by the player. And it wouldn't be like that if not the creepy music that accompanies these moments. That's why today I will rate every Deltarune song from chapter 1 all the way to chapter 4, based on how much they creep me out. I'm not a music critic by any means, I probably won't have the necessary vocabulary to make it sound professional, but since it's an important part of the game for me, I still wanted to make this video. It'll be a bit long, so chill out, put it in the background or whatever, and let's dive into those Deltarune tracks. Also, if you like Deltarune and Undertale content, then I'd be very thankful if you sub to me. I always put a lot of effort into my videos. This one won't be edited as much since, you know, I don't really know how to visually represent my taste in music, and it's also a very long one. But check out my night analysis or something. I really put a lot of effort into my vids, and I appreciate every form of support. Alright, let's go. First, I should probably explain how the video will work. Long story short, I made my own list of Deltarune tracks from the least creepy to the creepiest, and I will go from bottom to top. So we'll start with the fan songs and end on some actual creepy bullshit. So yeah, at place 165. Yes, there are that many songs in Deltarune. I told you we're off to a long journey, so bear with me. At place 165, the least scary Deltarune song, in my opinion, is Pandora Palace. It's just such a banger. Pandora Palace is the type of song that can always cheer me up, you know? It's fun, it's catchy, it's the polar opposite of a creepy song. So yeah, last place for it. 164 is Big City Board. Those Tenna songs are generally really catchy and upbeat, and this one is no exception. It's really fun and silly. 163 is Mike the Board Please. Another goofy song, and I like how it flips the whole chapter 3 upside down. Like when I played, we all knew that Tenna would not actually be a murderer, like we thought after Spamton's description of him. So yeah, generally a very upbeat and silly song, I love it. 162 is And Now for Today's Sponsors. Yep, another Tenna song. As I said, he has a lot of silly ones. I especially love the silly trumpets, or I don't even know if those are trumpets, bro. I'm really passionate about Toby's music and I really wanted to make this video, but I'm just gonna look like a total idiot throughout the whole thing. I don't really have to explain why it's so low, I think you get it. Next up, 161, Ruler Buster. The way Toby locked in with this one should be studied. I know some people say it's overrated, but dude, it's such a fucking bop. I don't know how Toby managed to upgrade Root Buster so much and make it from a generally kinda meh song into something absolutely spectacular. It's really catchy, really upbeat, really energetic, and the fact that it was made just for 2 mini-bosses is actually insane. It was my favorite track from chapter 3 for a while, but yeah, it obviously doesn't creep me out at all. It actually makes me want to dress up as Chris and imagine I'm beating up Darkness. At 160, we have Attack of the Killer Queen. The boss theme for Queen is also just an energetic banger, as many boss fight themes are. It makes you hyped up for the battle, and I can't really take it seriously after I heard the lyric version from Felfab.
And Des is dead, and Gerson is dead, and Chris is possessed by Kara, and Carol is the knight in the chapter 3 as always Papyrus 2.
Make sure to check it out if you haven't, it's peak. At 159 we've got It's Pronounced Rules. Obviously, Rules couldn't have a serious theme. I really like the fast beat in the background and the instruments used. Really makes a cool combo. But when it reaches this part, you're hearing the background is just insane. I love Toby's silly songs. It's low, everybody knows why, let's move on. Number 158, TV World. I think Toby really tried to mimic that feeling of a late stage area we had in chapter 2 thanks to Pandora Palace. The songs are really similar. Both are absolute bops, and this part you hear in the background right now is absolutely my favorite. Cool Mixtape is at number 157. Just Attack of the Killer Queen in a different tempo and with different instrumentals. I guess it's a bit more chiptune, that's why I put it higher, because chiptune songs are generally kinda creepy to me, as you'll be soon to realize. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't have learned about Lavender Town Creepypasta when I was 8, as that has certainly changed me. Same goes for A Simple Diversion at number 156. I know it's more tense and maybe should go higher, but that melody is too intertwined with the other tracks for me to take it seriously in any way. At number 155 we've got When I Get Happy I Dance Like This. Yeah, we're entering the Sweet Cup and Cake songs. Many people dislike these guys and I kinda get that. I'm also not a huge fan, and the fact that they take up like half of the soundtrack is quite ridiculous. It's generally just an upbeat, positive song and I don't know what else to say. In no context that would be scary. So yeah, since we've got a lot to go through, let's just speedrun them. 154, Almost to the Guys. 153, Cyber Battle Solo. 152, Sound Studio. 151, Mini Studio. 150, Holiday Studio, well, that's just Jingle Bells. And 149, When I Get Mad I Dance Like This. Alright, at 148 I put Cat Swing. This is also just a really fun song. It's unpredictable, I love the amount of leitmotifs it uses, and Motormouth Mike's dialogue goes just perfectly with it. So yeah, really fun, really goofy, doesn't scare me at all. I'm brave with this one. At 147 I put A Cyber Swirl. To be completely honest, I think all of the songs that I graded at this point could be randomly shuffled and the list would still be just as good. But who cares, I really took a lot of time to make it. So A Cyber Swirl gets 147 and nothing else. It's the first theme we hear after entering a new dark world, and its upbeat melody just really reinforces the fact that you're starting a completely new amazing adventure. The way this song starts playing is also just perfect. It hit especially hard when after 3 years of waiting, I was finally playing a new chapter in Men. I couldn't have imagined a better song that would say, yeah, this is actually a new chapter. Alright, I'll stop glazing, let's move on. At 146 I put Pushing Buddies. Not a lot to say here, Toby nailed that weird romantic vibe this song was supposed to convey. It wasn't made to be creepy, so it's not as simple as that. Fun fact, when the OST leaked hours before release, people thought it's gonna be a fucking secret boss theme. Imagine being that wrong. Could never be me. I say as I'm betting my whole life savings on Rudy Knight being true. 145 is AC Tunnel of Love. This song just screams goofy. It's not really that fast or anything, but yeah, it's silly. Honestly, I don't really like it, but it doesn't scare me either, so that's why it's here. Okay, next. At 144 we've got Barely Rejected Concept. I mean, I think you know why it's here, right? I'm really happy that Toby decided to give my boy a proper theme, because just a random melody mixed with bird sounds would be terrible. The new theme actually has aura compared to whatever this is. We're returning to bangers with 143. Raise Up Your Bat. It was the first song in chapter 3 that actually made me fall in love with it immediately. Other songs took more listening for me to find them catchy. This was just love at first sight. It's really only that high because of the lyrics being probably written by Des and shrouded in mystery. That could be kinda creepy as she's gone missing and we don't really know what that's about. But yeah, it still has to go low. At 142 I've put It's TV Time. I love this song. It's currently my favorite out of Chapter 3 soundtrack. It's pretty similar to TV Time or other songs like that, but there's more tension to it. That's why I put it above all of them. I love Tenna, he's a huge inspiration for me, and this theme song perfectly captures his personality, as all boss themes tend to do. You can feel that desperation in it. Damn, this video kinda turned into me just saying that I love or dislike some songs. I should probably say something about why it's not creepy for me. Well, for one, it's supposed to be a hype theme for a main boss, so they generally aren't intended to make you feel creeped out, and the fast tempo and fun instruments confirm that. So next up, at 141 we have Versus Lancer. That's pretty much the same deal. The swing tempo and upbeat melody just make it a fun listen and not something that would make me wet the bed. It's a theme for Lancer. He's not really anyone that you should be scared of, even if you wanted that at the beginning. At 140 I put Lancer. That's the same song but slower. At 139 I put Need a Hand. It's a much more motivational version of Hammer of Justice, if that makes sense. I don't really know if there's a term for this, but when it played during the Titan fight, you could hear it screaming to you, "Don't give up, not all hope is lost," which I think is amazing. I've made a whole separate video about Gerson, so I'm not gonna talk about it much, but yeah, not creepy, just really damn hype. At 138 I put Gingerbread House. It's supposed to be like a festive song, so it wasn't intended to be scary. The melody is upbeat, the instruments are emphasizing that Christmas vibe, and the context of where it plays also isn't really supposed to be scary. At 137, Beginning. It was supposed to be the first song you hear in the actual game, with everyone waving at you. It's really just cool, happy, the background melody is very goofy, and I couldn't imagine a better introduction to Hometown than this. And the Once Upon a Time leitmotif at the end that connects Deltarune with Undertale just always makes me emotional, man. Such a beautiful piece. 136, we've got School. This is also fun, not as fun as Beginning, but still, I don't really have a lot to say about this one. It's kinda calm, but also fun to listen to. If School really had that vibe, maybe I would enjoy going there. At 135 we've got Queen. It's a really good song for a chaotic funny antagonist, Toby Cooked. I really like the elegant vibe it has and that a little bit confusing but still positive melody. And the last part of the song always makes me look like this dog. It's a beautiful song. Queen could be proud of her theme. But yeah, I would never say it creeps me out. We're still a long way there. At 134 we've got Airwaves. The drums and the little melody bits at the beginning could be somewhat creepy. Well, not really, it's more like something that could play in a funny sneak sequence. But you know what I mean, it's not really that happy and energetic and whatever. But that completely changes later on and it becomes just a total bop. And when the freedom motif hits near the ending, it's just man. It feels like I'm gonna start floating any second now. At 133 I put Castle Funk. Instruments in this one make this whole track really outstanding. Obviously I don't have the vocabulary necessary to describe what it feels like, cause I'm too scared of sounding like a total fucking buffoon, but I feel like if I went to like a classy bar in the 60s or 70s, they might have been playing something similar. Really cozy and fun, especially since its context is walking around Castletown and talking to all of your friends. The beat is also one of a kind. Number 132 is Friendship. A really special track for me personally. It always makes me emotional, it's just so beautiful. The 8-bit or 16-bit or whatever bit instruments playing a slower, more melancholic version of Don't Forget after the whole chapter 1 adventure is something that can't be described in a different way than just perfect. I love it, I really do. It's so beautiful and emotional. Number 131, Physical Challenge. It's obviously not as energetic and goofy as other Tenna songs, as it's more tense, but it's still really cool and the instruments still carry that non-serious vibe of them throughout the minigame. Number 130, South of the Border. Not a lot to say here, that's just a fun tune. Same goes for number 129, Dig Dig to the Center of the Earth. Not a lot to discuss here as they're both a couple of seconds long and serve some random role during the Tenna games. Number 128, Quiz. We're really back at the Tenna songs, I see. Once again, this one is more tense, but it's still just using the well-known upbeat melodies from earlier. Number 127, Another Day in Hometown. This is obviously a Town Called Hometown remix, but it's done in a more positive way than the calm ones from previous chapters. But the use of certain instruments and the faster tempo really changes the reception. If you ask me, it's way better than the original. But that might be a hot take. We've got banger after banger, since at number 126 I put Field of Hopes and Dreams. It serves a similar role to A Cyber's World, as it is supposed to convey that exciting energy. It's a brand new adventure, new world. Everything looks so beautiful too. It's a beautiful piece and a beautiful introduction to the Chapter 1 Dark World. The only part of it that makes me feel something different is the Don't Forget leitmotif, but to be honest, that just makes me feel curious about this world more than creeped out about it. At 125 I put The World Revolving. Another banger track with a breadcrumb of curiosity. It's not creepy per se, definitely not. It's really fun, as circus music tends to be. The tempo is very fast, the beat is going crazy, the freedom motif is also insane, but there is that undertone of mystery and curiosity regarding that weird clown guy we're fighting right now, and the source of his strength. Or maybe it's just me, I don't know. Still, I would not move it from this place even an inch. At 124, however, we've got From Now On. I really like how the serious and atmospheric Dark Sanctuary has been remixed into just an absolute bop of a battle theme. It makes me feel quite similar to how Ruler Buster made me feel, but this time I would fight like there's more on the line. The beat is what is mostly making it so catchy and exciting. Number 123, Fanfare from Rose of Winter. It's not a long track, but even if it feels elegant and serious, it's not as fast as songs we've put lower, and also the little sound at the end changes the reception for me a bit. Number 122, Thrash Machine. Also not one of my favorite tracks. This one also uses silly sounds that form an upbeat melody. Sounds like something from Pokemon, to be honest. It's not really fast, that's the only reason it's that high, but yeah. I would never call this creepy. At number 121 I put Sandy Board. This is another song that is quite fun. It also has an upbeat melody and isn't very fast, but it also has that chiptune vibe to it, with which it's obviously easier to make someone creeped out, at least in a game like Deltarune. We've got the same thing at number 120 with Adventure Board. Everything I said about Sandy Board could be said about Adventure Board, so I'm not gonna repeat myself. Especially since at number 119 we've got Hammer of Justice. Even if it is obviously a banger like any other boss theme, you can feel that serious tone it has. It's not chapter 2 anymore. Things got more serious and there's more on the line. Gerson, as a mentor of the heroes, tries to teach Suzy a lesson. That's why also at a certain point the song becomes really emotional. Hammer of Justice is not just a track that makes you happy when you listen to it and that's all. It has some weight to it. And the medieval-like vibe is perfectly nailed by Toby. I could go on and on about Gerson, but yeah, I've already did that in a different episode. Make sure to check that out. At 118 we've got April 2012. I didn't really know what to do with this song. The looping melody seems kinda creepy, as many looping melodies tend to seem for me, but it's also just a silly disco track. I don't know, I'm mixed about this one, but I could listen to it alone at night without issue, so I guess it fits at number 118. At 117, however, we've got a town called Hometown. Finally something different. I already talked about it a bit when talking about Another Day in Hometown. By this point we've mostly talked about fun, energetic, upbeat songs, as I feel like that is the opposite of creepy. This one, however, because of its slow tempo, melancholic melody and the use of the instruments, feels more calm to me. It doesn't make me hyped for a boss, it actually does the opposite. It makes me chill out for a section in which I can talk to all of my favorite characters. Really good song, not creepy, but we're getting closer. Sans is at 116. Another chill song, pretty slow, lazy you could even say. I don't know, the Undertale vibe it has kinda doesn't fit in Deltarune for me, which is kinda making me creeped out. But then again, not really, since it's Sans. 99% of me is grooving and 1% is kinda weirded out. I don't know if that makes sense. Number 115, The Old Jitterbug. It's quite similar to Sans for me. It's a groove, but the ghost fight melody and the old cartoon vibe give me this small feeling of uncertainty towards it. 114 is Ferris Wheel. Don't get me wrong, the tune itself isn't really the issue here. It's how chiptune the whole song is. It kinda hurts my ears to listen to it even at a regular volume. But yeah, the lack of regular instruments in favor of the generated ones, mostly at the beginning, is kinda weird. Still, not close to the top at all, but you probably get what I mean. Number 113, Soundcheck. This is just for a tutorial. Even if you could argue the tune we play on the guitar is kinda unnerving, then Susie just storms in with her drums and you can't be scared of that. Number 112, The Second Sanctuary. I think that out of all the Sanctuary themes, this one is the least atmospheric and just sounds like a really cool ringtone. Don't get me wrong, it's an absolute banger later on, but it seems more Pandora Palace-esque rather than Quiet Autumn or Scarlet Forest, for example. We will get to those. At 111th place, we've got Knock You Down. The only reason it's so low is because it seems more tense to me, and not just fun and hype like other boss themes. This feels like you're being chased by something, you know? So yeah, that's where I'd put it. Hey, anyone else hates the fucking Knock You Down guitar challenge? That shit is impossible to do without fail. At number 110 I put the Third Sanctuary. It's pretty much the same thing as the Second Sanctuary, but it feels more fucked up. I couldn't find a nicer word for it. The constantly changing time signature makes listening to it feel like you're discovering a fourth dimension. It would still make a fire ringtone though. Well guys, we've finally analyzed 1/3 of the songs featured here. Let's not drag it out, I don't like doing that. Number 109, Paradise Paradise. Some people might say it's too high, but I think it's exactly where it should be. The chiptune vibe makes me feel like I'm playing a new RPG on Game Boy Color, and well, those games tend to have some creepy stories to them. But other than that, I find the ocean at the end to be quite creepy. Why is such a nice song ending in such a weird and mysterious way that we only hear the waves? Number 108, Welcome to the City. It's also a pretty chiptune-like song, but it's way more upbeat. The thing with it is, the context is kinda messed up. I mean, such a nice song can turn into quite a creepy one if you do a certain set of things to get on the weird route. That knowledge and the not so fast tempo are really the only reasons I put it here, and thinking about it now, maybe it should have been lower, but oh well, I've said it now. Number 107 then, Raft Ride. Another tenor song, as I call him. I truly don't know, but this one sounds way more painful on the ears. Even when I'm listening to it at a sensible volume, it's still unpleasant. The melody itself is not really upbeat, but it's not sad either. It's just a generic track that RPGs like that tend to have. Not much to add to that. So number 106, Board Clear. Damn, there are a lot of those tenor tracks, huh? This one is subjective, I gotta say. When I was a little kid, I had this weird laptop with many educational games inside it. It was like a toy, and the songs there had a very similar vibe to how this track starts. Because of that, I can't treat it like any other normal upbeat sounding track. Sorry about that, but it makes me feel okay. Number 105 is The Dark Zone. I find it kinda funny because it's a track designed for a scary boss fight, but Toby, instead of making it creepy, made it an absolute bop with a Halloween style. It's kinda like spooky, scary okay, I couldn't find a good comparison, but you get what I mean. The whole boss fight is amazing, it is pure chaos combined with Halloween fun, and without this track it wouldn't feel that way. So even if it's a Halloween themed track, it doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be scary, even though there are some spookier motifs here and there. Number 104, Hip Shop. This track also has that elegant and magical vibe to it, thanks to this high-pitched instrument that I cannot name. And it perfectly captures Rule's personality, when he's not trying to make traps, that is. Perfect theme for a hot guy that's first trapping ass, but yeah. As I said, listening to it in Rule's shops makes me question my sexuality more than make me creeped out, even though that might be kinda scary. At 103 I put Welcome to the Green Room. Basically the same shit but slower, so not much to say here. At 102 is the first Spamton song, Now's Your Chance to Be a. The thing with Spamton songs is, I think they're all creepy in a sense that they're related to a chaotic weird little gremlin that also has a creepy boss fight in a basement later on. But yeah, outside of the context, the motifs are also quite eerie sometimes, if done right. Now's Your Chance to Be a is in my opinion the most fun song out of the bunch, but the vocals, the middle section and the weird background sounds also make listening to it a weird experience. It's not creepy as much as it is just weird and unpredictable. Number 101, Query. This is an unused track, but it's still left in the soundtrack. The tune sounds a bit like other 8-bit tunes from tennis games, but this one is just slower, and the fact that we don't know its purpose also adds to the mysteriousness. Track number 100, we finally got here. Gyahaha! This track totally has that medieval vibe to it, which I of course love, but since it's a more serious tone, it naturally has to be higher than all the joyful songs. The instruments used here make this track really stand out. Number 99, Root Buster. Alright, so I guess we're back to the hype tracks. You see, Root Buster has aura, of course it does. I'm not a huge fan of it, but maybe because I've listened to it too much. Still, outside of the hype and aura it brings to the table, there are some scary undertones to it. At least that's what I feel. This combativeness. Something other fight themes don't usually have, as they mostly focus on hype moments and aura. Here's there's actual tension and it feels like a really good fight theme, but it's still not creepy. Though we're definitely closer than we were when we were talking about Pandora Pass, for example. Too much when, where, and we. 98 powers combined. To be honest, it probably doesn't make much sense for a Knock You Down version to be so far apart from Knock You Down, but I think the fact that it's slower and doesn't develop only leaves the tension and combativeness of the track, which makes it comparable with Root Buster more. But yeah, not much more to say here. Number 97, Rules Card. This is also another elegant track for Rules. Not much to add here, it's basically like Hip Shop in terms of the sound, not the melody but the sound itself, but it's more tense, that's why it's higher. Number 96, Chaos King. This track starts off really ominously and eerily, but then it develops into just an absolute banger. It still has that dark tone to it though, and it's very tense, so it's worthy of being this high. I think we've reached a place in which the tracks mix some creepy elements with non-creepy ones. In fact, we've been here for a while, I'd say. But we're still far from done, so number 95 is Checker Dance. That's literally the same thing. Starts tense and eerie, then develops into a goofy banger. Number 94 is Giga Size. That's literally the same thing, but the beginning is more ominous than in the previous tracks. Number 93 is Smart Race. And yeah, it's basically the same thing, but it's still the most tense of the bunch, excluding the Queen motif. So we gotta give that to my man Birdly. Number 92 is Scarlet Forest, and as you can imagine, it's also exactly the same thing. Although here it's not as much about creepiness, but mysteriousness. Thing is, even after the song develops into something catchy, that mysterious vibe doesn't go away. You're still curious about this world you're going through with Rousey, and the Don't Forget motif by the end really emphasizes that. Number 91, Birdly. Okay, I know what you're thinking. How could Birdly's theme be scary? But imagine for a second it's not his theme. The way the instrument used here sounds with only a short background melody going on there too makes it kinda eerie for me. Even if I recognize it's still a bop. I don't know, this is probably a hot take, but it's still just 91st place, nowhere near the top. Number 90 is Chill Jail Alarm to study and relax to. It's probably quite stupid to analyze this one, but I believe the inexpressive way the ghost fight motif sounds here, with the alarm in the background, makes it worthy of its spot near the middle of the list. At 89 we've got You Can Always Come Home. Remember what I was talking about a town called Hometown? Calm tracks feel closer to creepy than me than upbeat tracks do. I think that's generally how people perceive that. And You Can Always Come Home makes me feel even calmer than a town called Hometown did. I think it's actually the chillest track of the whole Undertale and Deltarune soundtrack. But it's also very nostalgic for me, as I'm a fan for 7 years, and it makes me really emotional now to listen to it, so I don't really do that often. I often skip it, to be honest. It might not make sense to you why calm tracks seem more creepy to me than joyful ones, although I think that most people get that, but it's pretty simple. Take Everywhere at the End of Time, for example. A classic album that has some creepy old-sounding songs in it that are overall pretty calm, but the context, the quality and the instruments make them have that unnerving feeling to them. I hope I explained it clearly. At number 88 I put Empty Town. Another calm track, but this time the instruments are once again more chiptune-like, and the legend motif gives it much more value. At the bite of 87 I put Even Higher. I literally cannot explain why. It's not really a fast song, it's not really that catchy. It's kinda tense, but not really. I feel like this is Toby's song that's hardest to categorize, and I don't know how that makes me feel. Number 86 is Girl Next Door. I also don't have much to say here. A chill tune I didn't have any other place for. There's not as much in it as in other calm tracks we've discussed, so that's really the only reason why it's higher than Empty Town, for example. So yeah, number 85, Spamton. Damn, we've waited a while for a next Spamton song. Once again, creepy voice lines, the song in general is quite chill, but since it plays when you first meet Spamton, it has that weird feeling connected to it. Since meeting such a weirdo in a dumpster is rarely a positive experience. At 84, I put Elegant Entrance. As the title suggests, it has a real elegant feeling to it. It seems serious despite the Queen motif that in general is quite goofy. Here it sounds pretty beautiful actually. I hope you're not gonna laugh at me, but at number 83 I put feature presentation.
It's now time for our feature presentation.
I know this song is really funny and all that, but the vibe it gives me of that old ads, the way the voice sounds and the hey every motif at the end really make it quite eerie for me. It also sounds really surreal to me, especially with the egg mentioned. It's probably another hot take that it's that high, but that's fine. Number 82, Don't Forget.
When the light is running low and the shadows start to grow and the places that you know seem like fantasy.
Another song with lyrics, but this time with a completely different vibe. In general, this song makes me feel comforted and chilled out, but I cannot think about it more because that's what makes it so weird for me. It's the most important song of the game, and the fact that we still don't really understand its message is making me feel quite uncomfortable and overthink. That also might be a me issue since I've been a theorist for as long as I can remember, but I don't know, tell me what you think I guess. 81, Sword. This is another one of the minigame tracks, but this one has more weight to it since it plays during the sword route. It's way more tense than those tracks tend to be, and the looping melody and the waves near the ending really do it for me. But the context with this one is very important as well, as we're just alone on an island that seems familiar to us. I don't know about you, but for me the thought of being left alone here on this earth is absolutely terrifying. Of course that's not the same, but it is a similar experience for my brain. Of course that's not the same, but it feels like a similar experience for my brain. Number 80, versus Susie. Do you remember when we were talking about 10 songs that become bangers? There's a lot of them. But not gonna lie, Susie's battle theme is still kinda frightening if you think about it. Obviously it won't make you hide under the bed from fear, but the motifs and instruments and general tense vibe it has seems badass, sure, but also kinda scary. If your enemy had that theme, you'd probably be pretty scared to attack them, that's what I'm saying. Still, not creepy, but a really cool, serious, badass theme, perfect for Susie. 79, With Hope Crossed on Our Hearts. I didn't really know what to do with this one as well. I guess that's why these tend to land in the middle. It's a serious song for sure, a beautiful one too. The vibe I'm getting from it, thanks to the tempo and the instruments, is that there are a lot of mysteries that we can't solve yet, and that makes me really think about all those stuff that we haven't fully figured out yet. 78, King of Roly-Poly. The reason this track seems pretty creepy to me is the background melody. Obviously the main one is Sunshine and Rainbows, but if you listen to the background you can definitely sense some unnerving undertones from this track. It reminds me of Meat Factory from Undertale a little bit. At 77 I put The Place Where It Rained. Another calm/melancholic song from the game, but this time I think the context makes it way deeper than the previous ones we've rated. First of all, it plays after chapter 4 when we're walking around the town alone at night with Susie. But second of all, it's very nostalgic as it's a remix of It's Raining Somewhere Else from Undertale, just without the Sans motif. I think this track was very special for a lot of people, so seeing it here shouldn't be surprising. Number 76 is My Castle Town. Another very beautiful, slow track, I love the piano in this one. It's also pretty nostalgic for me. The Legend motif as well as the Don't Forget motif both sound very magical in this track. It's not creepy, but definitely emotional. Number 75, Bluebird of Misfortune. Okay, I know it's a Burly song with a Burly motif, but imagine for a moment that it's not related to him. What is left is a kinda sad 8-bit track. I think you will all agree with me if I say that it doesn't deserve to be in the first half of the track ranking. Number 74, Dark Sanctuary. one of the most atmospheric tracks in the entire game. The way it sounds so angelic is something I truly cannot express with words. It's calm but also definitely has that curiosity crumb in there. The same one that we could hear in the Field of Hopes and Dreams, for example. I would put it lower if not the singing choir that we can hear sometimes in this track. I don't know why, but this type of singing always seems pretty creepy for me. Church songs and whatnot, they sound really sublime, which in effect makes them quite mysterious and creepy. I guess that is what they're supposed to convey, so that tracks. But yeah, you'll see my bias towards church choirs in the later parts of the video as well. At 73 we've got Hymn. Yeah, maybe I lied with the later parts of the video part. It's literally a choir singing. I decided I should put them right next to each other, since my feelings towards those tracks are pretty similar. But hey, we've still got Neverending Night ahead of us. Number 72, Legend. It's a really good song with that mystical and hopeful feeling, yet you can sense that there are bigger things at play here. It really makes the prophecy sound serious, yet somehow enticing and cool. I also love the context that what Rosie was telling us when it played was only half the truth. Really a powerful piece. At number 71 I put Faint Glow. It quite literally makes me feel the same. Hope, courage, but also a shroud of worry. The vibe is also similar. Same goes for number 70, which is Before the Story. This track also makes me feel that way, but definitely leans in on the atmospheric and calm vibe the Once Upon a Time motif in it has. Generally speaking, it's a pretty similar experience for me, even if Before the Story makes me feel a bit chilled out and or sad if I'm in that mood. And finally, the number we've all been waiting for. Number 69, Your Power. This track also has that hopeful vibe that it obviously plays when you're closing a fountain, so the context once again makes it creepier than the melody itself, as I find the idea that only the soul can close dark worlds and that it's our power and not Chris's very mysterious and interesting. But that might once again be subjective, and it's fine if you disagree with that placement. I get it. Number 68 is Keygen. I've put these tracks together since I believe they have a similar vibe, but Keygen is definitely creepier. The looping melody in the background is quite ominous, but once again, the context of it being related to the whole Spamton route is carrying this one. I don't know if you're gonna agree with me, but I believe this route is one of the creepiest parts of the game. The fact that we're doing it alone, just dealing with a random guy we met in a dumpster that wanted to kill us all this time, is very unnerving in an overall cheerful game like Deltarune, at least if you're looking at the surface. Yo, check this out, we've got the Holy at number 67. This track starts really ominously, but then develops into something very hopeful and heroic. I really like this about this track, and it's generally in the same vibe as other tracks in the vague Hopium subcategory, which I just made up. There's more of these in the game, so let's move on. Order 66, Dark Place. This track definitely has some element of dread to it. It's emotional, obviously, but it's mostly carried by its echoing sounds that add a lot to this feeling. While listening to it, I feel quite similarly to as I was feeling during the rest of the tracks in this subcategory. But it's definitely more serious than them and more emotional. So naturally at number 65 we have to place The Dark Truth. This is literally the same song, but with different instruments. It sounds way more serious and dreadful that way, but the main melody is still the same. Next I put Guardian at number 64. The The context is obviously very important when it comes to the song. It plays when we're fighting a titan, but the music itself also has that serious and sublime vibe to it, while also, similarly to the legend, making the listener doubt if winning is possible. And if it is, then if the future holds anything better. But there's still that glimmer of hope there and you continue to fight. Also, since it's a boss theme, it has a lot more tension to it, especially at the beginning. I absolutely love this song. It was also love at first sight for me. Number 63, Spawn. Another Titan-related song, but this one focuses way more on the tension rather than fight encouraging. It doesn't make you question your fate just yet, but I gotta say I love this motif near the end. It's very tense while also keeping that mysterious vibe, since we don't have any way of knowing what's gonna happen next. At 62 I put Crumbling Tower. That's basically Spawn but just slower, so I guess it fits here. Number 61 is Lantern. This one is also just mostly based around the context, since Sham is the first really mysterious character we meet. They tell us the backstory of this world and mention the night to us for the first time. They also have a history of Jevil. It also has that medieval and mystical vibe, but you can tell that there's more to this weird cat than it seems. And I really appreciate Lantern for that. At 60 I put Darkness Falls. It's a really melancholic song, and that echo, or however you wanna call that, in the first half adds a lot to this feeling. Later on it develops and becomes a more hopeful tune. At number 59 however I put Wise Words. My reasoning is pretty similar to Lantern. The vibe I'm getting here is pretty much the same, though it's definitely slower and Gerson's motif has a little bit different, more comforting vibe. With Sham you don't really know what to expect, but Gerson is your sensei. He may surprise you more than once even, but he's still an ally. I wouldn't be so sure about Sham's intentions. Number 58 is Fireplace. That song makes me feel pretty much the same way that Wise Words does, but I don't really think that's a common thing. I mean, it just has the same vibe we've talked about, but that might sound really weird. In my mind it's less connected with Gerson himself, but more with the Dark Sanctuary in general, and that's what disposes me of the calmness Wise Words made me feel. Number 57 is Lost Girl. In my opinion, piano tracks and 8-beat tracks have the biggest potential to sound creepy. Lost Girl is a piano track, but that alone wouldn't make it worthy to put at number 63. The melody is obviously pretty melancholic and calm, but the idea that it's a theme for Des who went completely missing, and everyone who was close to her still thinks about her, just really adds a lot of depth. At number 56 I put Metaphysical Challenge. There are more Tenna songs? Oh my god. I think the looping background melody does a lot for this one. It builds tension when the main melody makes you feel like something isn't as it should. Number 55, Doomboard. This track is 8-beat once again, and I believe the background melody is doing a lot for the tension, while the main melody is also pretty creepy in this manner. Well, it's not creepy per se, but you know, you can feel something ain't right. Number 54, Piano that may not be played that well. We're back to piano tracks. It's really beautiful, I have to admit this. But I still think the high octave and the imperfect way the song is played add to the creepiness of the melody itself. Obviously it's mostly emotional and sad, but I can feel that crumb of fear somewhere within me that if given this song the right setting would overcome my current experience. Number 53, A Real Boy. The Before making this video, I didn't even know a track like this was on the soundtrack, but yeah, it is, and it's connected to Spamton. As I said previously, the Spamton songs in general seem pretty creepy to me. This one not that much, that's why it's higher than all the other ones, but I still think the instruments slash sound font, or whatever you call that Toby used for these tracks sounds really odd. Like, I'm sure if Toby used different instruments for this track, it would just be goofy and I wouldn't think more of it. But the fact that it's like this, and it doesn't really have anything else going on, and that it's related to Spamton, a really weird creature, it makes me feel a bit uneasy. At number 52, I put Hey Every. It also uses goofy sounds, but the fact that it's such a short and simple loop makes me feel uneasy. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I believe short loops tend to be very creepy. That's also why I think Gaster's theme is the creepiest song in Undertale. The last notes of the motif are really the main thing that makes me feel weird about this. 51, Hall of Fame. Yeah, it's just an extended version of Hey Every. The way it sounds here is also quite eerie for me, even more actually, despite the fact that the melody itself isn't that weird. Also the fact that we know what happens next gives me this odd feeling when listening to it. 50, Friends. Another piano piece. This one also sounds pretty immature and quite sad. It's mostly emotional, but I would say it still makes me feel a bit uneasy, especially when played at night when I'm alone. I love this track, obviously, like the majority, but the way it sounds just feels kinda weird. I don't really know how to explain it well, so I won't. All I will say is that sad songs, when played in the right way, can often feel very creepy. And this is just raw piano audio, which isn't a usual thing I listen to, for example. At number 49, I put Quiet Autumn. This track is supposed to be a parallel to Quiet Water from Undertale, and that track was one of the calmest in the entire OST. Here we also have a very calm vibe and a slow tempo, and out of all of the tracks that I said are enticing the mysteries of this world, this one definitely does it the most. And out of all the tracks that I said are enticing the mysteries of this world, this one definitely does it the most. At least for me. Maybe because of how little we knew about the story when only chapter 1 was released, but still I stand by that. At number 48 we've got Old Wooden Rafters. It's a calm song, but like very calm. Too calm. I think it's a really good melancholic song that will be nostalgic in a couple of years, but the whole church aesthetic coming with it makes me feel kinda suspicious about it. I can't really explain why, but that's how I feel. At number 47 I put Card Castle. It's quite similar to Quiet Autumn in a way that it starts slowly and then develops some actual personality. This time, however, instead of going from calm to curiosity-inducing, it goes from tense to kind of a bop. I mean, I'm vibing with it, but at the same time I can feel the tension from earlier, as well as a sense of dread about the unknown enemy that awaits me at the top. A really good song and quite underrated too. At number 46 we've got Atrium. A very atmospheric and ambient-like version of Old Wooden Rafters, so I don't have much to say about it. All I will say though is that it's very calm, but also seems like a track for a place that hides a secret. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I feel about it. Number 45, Glowing Snow. This is about as calm as it gets when we're talking about Deltarune, but the main melody has that mysterious vibe and not just a chill one, especially considering where this track plays and the memories connected with it. Number 44, Black Knife. Of course it's a bop, like, obviously, so that might make you wonder why I put it down here. This might be unpopular, but I think the tension in Black Knife really outweighs the moments in which the melody goes catchy. I can't think of a more tense battle theme Toby Fox ever made. It really feels like you're having trouble breathing when you're fighting the night with this playing on your headphones. And later the melody also has some motifs that don't sound that upbeat at all, quite the opposite. I think it makes sense to place it here. Even if it might not creep someone out if you're new to the song, it can overwhelm you really easily. Speaking from experience. Number 43, Vapor Buster. is literally everything I said about Rootbuster. The tension, the hype, but also the feeling of having your ass kicked. Here it is even more amplified by the slower tempo and lower pitch. At number 42 we've got Faint Courage. Dude, I love this track. It feels like it's trying to be a heroic song but fails. And what is left is the doubt if we can even push forward anymore. Well, the name is really fitting. It's a perfect track for the game over screen. I also think the motif here is quite creepy in of itself, especially after I heard a different version of it on Undertale's 10th anniversary stream. It genuinely can make me feel creeped out, even if there is some hope under this uneasy surface. I think more people should appreciate Faint Courage because it's generally a song that most people skip, completely ignoring the unique experience it provides. Number 41, Volume Adjustment. This might sound really stupid, but I actually believe the way the drums play and the way the mic motif that follows sounds played in a low octave really makes this whole track quite ominous and makes you not know what to expect, which I appreciate. If you forget it's connected to a meme boss fight, it's actually quite unnerving, I'd say. Number 40, Imminent Death. The metal-like riffs, if you can call them that, add a whole new level of dread to the tense looping background melody. Not much more to say here as it's a short track, but I think everyone knows exactly how stressful listening to it can feel if you really get into it. Number 39 is our last boss theme, Big Shot. How do I even begin? Maybe it's best to start with the context. This particular track plays either right before you've been killed in a dark basement by a psycho you met in a dumpster and made a sketchy deal with, or at the end of the game where you're stopped by Spanton before stealing the fountain after psychologically abusing Noelle into murdering her friend with a tool you got from him. Both of these scenarios add a lot to the scariness of this track, I'd say. Next thing is the tension. This song from the very beginning is really tense, similarly to Black Knife. It also has that glitched vibe later on and has pretty creepy lyrics about someone coming for Spanton and that he can't explain it to Chris until they're all alone without the soul present. The instruments used here also sound pretty heavy, which makes me feel like I can't breathe normally. Exactly how I felt when I listened to Black Knife. These songs are very similar, but I think Big Shot is way creepier when Black Knife has more tension to it. The melodies and motifs that play in the track also might come off as happy, but in this context they sound more like a killer clown trying to get you rather than silly. Overall a pretty dreadful experience, I gotta say. Number 38 is Eram. This is a really slow, ominous loop. I don't think any more explanations are needed. Number 37, 13 AM. It's a really well crafted ambient track that reminds me of Waterfall. You know, it's quiet, pretty mystical, and also mysterious. That perfectly describes this track as well. Number 36, Neverending Night. Credits song of chapter 4. Honestly, Toby couldn't have picked a better song to be played after an ending like this. We just got a call from Carol and finished this emotional chapter and such a beautiful song is playing. I think the context of this song is the most important aspect of its reception for me. I think the way it is placed in the game is perfect, especially on the Snowgrave route too. And even more so if you think about the fact that it plays right before talking with Gaster again. Well, some people would disagree with me that it's Gaster, but that doesn't really matter. I think it's a great song, very emotional, and the quiet vocals really add a lot. Number 35, The Chase. This is simply a really tense track that doesn't develop into anything amazing later on. Maybe that's why I'm not a huge fan of it. Well, there's only the Nights motif, which is quite ominous sounding, but yeah, that's basically it. It fits its purpose of running away from an unknown danger very well. Right next to it, at number 34, I decided to place The Door. It's pretty similar to Chase, but it's more ominous than actually tense. The Nights motif is way more prominent, however, thanks to the bell-like tones. Number 33, Heavy Footsteps. Another tense song without anything crazy going on. More ominous this time, but with a slower tempo. Number 32, Burning Eyes. This is another song in which the context is very important. It plays during the Iran fight at the very end of a quite creepy sword route. This whole route seems like we shouldn't be allowed to see it, and I love how Toby captured that feeling. It's a pretty tense track overall without any upbeat melodies. At number 31, however, I put Cool Beat. This is probably the hardest one for me to defend, but I unironically feel kinda creeped out listening to this drum loop. I feel like it's pretty ominous, and that dum 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 creates a quite unnerving melody for me. You're completely valid if you disagree, but that's low-key how I feel. Number 30 is Mysterious Ringing. Another quite ambient track. I mean, it's not really an ambience, but it's not a song either. I think the bells create an amazing atmosphere with an element of dread and curiosity to them. But yeah, since it's just differently pitched bells, I'm not gonna yap any longer about it. At number 29, however, I put I'm Very Bad. Okay, this is another hot take and I don't care. Imagine this track is completely unrelated to Susie and Lancer. It's a banger motif for a villain and the slow tempo adds a lot to the chills one could get while listening to it. Number 28, Gallery. Once again, it's a short, ominous loop. I could talk more about the music itself, but I think what's more interesting about this track, and made me think about it a lot lately, is that there is a somewhat hidden prophecy that just says gallery without any other context. And this track is the only thing related to a gallery in the whole game. The panel itself is really weird. We don't know what it could represent, so that adds a lot to the creepiness when it comes to gallery for me. Number 27, The Legend ? I think this track somehow hits my uncanny valley. Like, it's something we already are familiar with, but in a twisted way that makes it feel wrong and out of place. Given the context that Rosie lied to us about the prophecy, it just created a generally odd feeling. And don't even get me started on the loop at the end. Absolute chills. Alright, at 26 we've got Weird Birds. I've been obsessed with Weird Birds for reasons I cannot understand, but it was definitely not because it's happy and cheers me up, quite the opposite. It gives me chills, but also fuels that curiosity about the mysteries of Deltarune, which are one of my favorite mysteries in all of media. Number 25, The Distance Between Two. This is a slowed down version of Lost Girl played on a guitar. Obviously, its context is very important, it is heavily related to Des, who completely disappeared from the game. It's also emphasized by the title. However, I also think the melody itself is quite melancholic, and when played like this, it has completely new colors. Colors that, quite frankly, creep me out a bit. Especially this out of sync strumming, it just feels odd and out of place. I don't know if saying it's out of sync makes sense, but compared to how it sounded in the regular Lost Girl track, you have to admit it sounds different, like something isn't quite right. Number 24, Dial Tone. So we're back to spam tone, eh? No wonder, as dial tone focuses on high-pitched sounds with breaks in between them. That builds the feeling of loneliness and makes the listener feel quite uncanny, especially when the phone is still ringing in the background. And yeah, obviously the whole context with this being a spam tone song adds a lot. Number 23, Cliffs. Yup, an ambient track. But I do fully believe it is quite creepy. The noise in the background paired with the really slow melody makes a cool combo, and since it plays when you first enter a dark world and know nothing about it and see some creepy guys like these, then it may make you feel pretty unnerved. Number 22, Crickets. This is a very similar track to Cliffs, but the background noise is definitely louder, and the melody is fully replaced by crickets. That's why it's higher on the list. Alright, let's move on. Number 21, The Circus. It plays in a secret basement of the card castle with a weird unknown guy locked up, so the context is creepy enough. The music itself is just slowed circus music, which really emphasizes Javil's chaotic unpredictability. The melody itself is also creepy enough for people on the Deltarune wiki to say there's a Gaster motif in there. Number 20, Welcome to the City, Snowgrave version. The way this typically happy song gets corrupted on the weird route really adds a lot to the experience. I don't think the weird route would be half as unsettling if the music didn't change. It obviously evokes associations with the genocide route in Undertale, and I'm certain that's what Toby was going for. And I gotta admit, it worked absolutely perfectly. So yeah, the context is the most important in this case, even if the way the song got corrupted is quite eerie on its own. Number 19, Birdly Battle Heartbeat. Yup, another Snowgrave track. This is the one from the fight with Birdly. There really isn't any melody in it, it's just an unnerving loop, but the context of being in a fight in which you can actually murder that guy, not just spank his ass, but actually put him in a hospital because you've been mentally abusing Noelle for the past hour is quite creepy. And I don't think there's any denying of that. Number 18, Dump. This track really creeped me out when I first listened to it in chapter 3. It feels goofy to me now, but the ominous noise in the background, the weird sound used for the melody, and a silent Hey Every motif really create a creepy combo. I already said that Hey Every seems pretty creepy to me, and in this context it's even worse. When I entered the S-rank room, it felt like I wasn't even playing Deltarune. It was so weird to see that section with music that didn't remind me of anything on the soundtrack prior to that. So yeah, even if I got used to it now, I'd still say it's quite creepy, considering my initial reaction. Number 17, Basement. Okay, show me a more ominous track in Deltarune. You can't, this is it. The sounds here are so low pitched and have a really slow tempo, but they also somehow build tension. That's it, the most ominous song on the soundtrack. Number 16, Susie. I wouldn't say Susie is more ominous than Basement, but the reason I put it higher is the fact that Basement later has Card Castle motif at the end, when Susie's track only gets more dreadful the more you listen to it. Other than that, they are quite similar. Both slow and very ominous. Breath. Another ambient-like track, I know. Thing with this one is that outside of the creepy background noises and melodies, we hear the knight breathing heavily under the helmet. That creates an insanely creepy atmosphere in my opinion. I love this track even if I didn't appreciate it at first. Number 14, Ripple. That's the song that plays when you're fighting Gerson's statue. It's another tense track. It's pretty quiet too, if anything else than the beat coming in once in a while. But the song gets really creepy for me later on when we hear the faint bells make a creepy melody when the drum beat is still being played. That paired with the fact that we don't really know who we're fighting against, or just what happened to the old man, since it's all in complete darkness, really adds a lot. Number 14, DOGG. That's also a Snowgrave Route song. This one plays before the encounter with Birdly and man, it's perfect. It's tense, it's a loop, it's creepy, it makes you feel uncertain or even scared about what's to come. Really a great song for the weird route, and obviously the context carries heavily. Number 12, Bitroots. Look, I only put it here because it's an 8-bit version of Digital Roots. I think it's a scary loop. It develops into something truly unnerving, and 8-bit sounds add a lot to this feeling. But Digital Roots at number 11 is where it really starts to get creepy. This track is insane. The subtle melody playing in the background is ominous, it feels like you're being haunted. Especially since it plays when exploring the creepy abandoned basement of Queen's Castle. Mind you, that's also where we first meet Friend. And then have the whole thing with Spamton where he's trying to kill us. This shit was so scary that even Chris was terrified after the battle. You know, maybe now the effect of the basement isn't that strong, but when chapter 2 released, that shit was frightening. And it was mostly due to the ambience playing there. Alright, we finally reached the last 10 tracks. I hope you're ready. Number 10, 12 AM. This track is creepy in a completely different way to the others. It's quite sad, seems like a twisted lullaby, something you would hear in a weird dream that would make you feel uneasy after you wake up. But I can see those liminal and creepy parts about it too. It doesn't make me creeped out like scared someone's behind me. It works differently. It feels kind of nostalgic, comforting even, but I feel like something is wrong. It's like seeing a picture that's a recreation of a dream and having that weird uncanny feeling that you've seen it before in your sleep. 12 AM is just amazing. At number 9 I put Until Next Time. Do you remember when I said that emotional tracks can become really creepy in a certain context? Yeah, that happened to Don't Forget with Until Next Time. The way that song was chopped up and rearranged really makes it feel uncanny, especially when it played 2 times in the game. First, after Chris opened a dark fountain in front of her eyes, and later when the bunker opened in front of them after the night took Undyne there. Cutting the game at such moments and playing this distorted version of Don't Forget really provides a unique experience. So even if the song itself might not be that creepy, it is very creepy to me personally due to my nostalgia and the way these chapters end. Alright, so number 8. Deal Gone Wrong. I believe this is the track out of the entire soundtrack that makes you feel in danger the most. It really feels like a creepy psycho is trying to kill you and there is no hope. The distorted synths and the rhythm really add to that feeling of uncertainty and dread. It feels like chaos is just about to unfurl, but we're still anticipating, waiting for what's gonna happen next. Amazing track, I love Deal Gone Wrong. Number 7, C. The last ambient track, well, not really probably, but in a way that is devoid of any major melody. It's a track for Carol Holiday when she first appears, and man, the ominous noises it's made out of really feel like a theme for hell, and not just Noelle's mom. This is probably the only song on this list which creepiness is destroyed by the context. But yeah, it's still creepy, and I don't think that's a controversial opinion. We've done number 7, so it's time for number 6. Another hymn. That's Gaster motif with galactic-like noises added in the background. I always thought Gaster's theme as a looping track is very creepy. Here I think it's even creepier due to the background and the echo-like effect on the melody. Also, the context being creating the vessel and literally talking to Gaster, man, is just perfect. Very creepy and very cool as well, let's not lie to ourselves. Number 5, Flashback. I'll grade Flashback from Chapter 2 and Flashback from Chapter 3 in the same place. It's a chilling minor key melody using high-pitched, almost Lavender Town-esque sounds that loops constantly. The background sounds also add to the tension in this track. Not gonna lie, it's one of my favorite Deltarune songs of all time. Number 4, Northern Light. Oh, that's just a slightly simpler and more muted version of Flashback, if that makes sense, so I don't have much to talk about. I will have a lot to talk about with number 3, however, which is Man 2. This is the most liminal sounding song in the whole game. Well, maybe because it plays in a Chapter 4 egg room, the most mysterious egg room of them all, showcasing art therapy. Well, showcasing is a strong word since it's all blocked by darkness, like we're not meant to be here. The egg room melody that sometimes faintly plays over it also adds a ton to the creepiness of this track. You can just feel that something is wrong. Something is not as it should. And yet you can't really tell what. Even after reading all of the creepy dialogue, like you can't wash it all away. Such a creepy song, but also one that provides such a unique atmosphere to the latest egg room. Number 2, Glacier. This track starts quiet and becomes louder and louder the longer it goes on. It also has that looping vibe, and the sounds used to create the melody are very eerie and creepy on their own. The melody is obviously uncanny and the context is also important. It's a track that plays during the second Sword Art minigame, arguably the scariest one. You know, the one in which you find messages about following a white cloak and the forbidden path. The one which literally recreates snow graves, so we have to relieve freezing enemies, barely included, and using Noelle as a tool. It's super creepy and I absolutely love this track, but the first place can only go to Man. Bro, I don't know why, but this track, the way it feels calm yet is played in a minor key, I believe. I don't know, I don't play piano, but it sounds like it. It's also just piano. I already talked about the fact that piano songs without anything else going on for them can be scary if the melody is uncanny. And this very much is. Like bro, it feels like I'm not alone in my room. Like I'm being watched, but at the same time, the being that watches me doesn't really want to harm me. Yet still, the thought that someone is out there is threatening enough. So it just feels creepy and weird, and it confuses your brain as to which reaction is appropriate. Not to mention that it's a track that plays in a secret room between other rooms that has, at the point of chapters 1 and 2 in which the song is present, been left completely unexplained. Finding something like this is creepy enough because you don't know what to make of it, but then you're also hit with this calm yet somehow unnerving piano song in the background, fading in and out. I can't express how much I love the whole eggs mystery and the arc with the Forgotten Man, and it wouldn't be the same if not the creepy song playing constantly in the background of this hidden place. Alright, that's it. We went through the whole soundtrack and even some more songs. I don't know how you feel about the list, but if you stayed all the way to the end, I really hope you enjoyed my unprofessional yapping about these tracks. I'm not gonna talk any longer as it's going to be a long video anyways, but yeah, if you enjoyed then make sure to leave a like and a sub, especially a sub, that helps me the most. Thanks for watching, and...
I'm a music teacher. I've never heard the music from Deltarune chapters 3 and 4.